Hello, everybody, and welcome to Four Mike's podcast, the gaming news podcast. I'm joined with everybody except our once mystery guest, who is not here today. Took so long to get everything set up because he wasn't here today. I had to re-edit all of the pre-existing show slides. Speaking of that, Doc is slightly over Del Dev's face, which is weird, and I'm going to fix that. Problem resolved.
Ripperino
into
Pepperino.
Doc here, coming to you from a remote location via cell phone.
Wow.
Yes, Doc is on cell phone, so that's going to be interesting, but everybody's here. Steve, if you ever flake again, you have no excuse. There's a cell phone app.
I mean, the excuse is usually I'm at work.
Whoa!
So.
I just realized I forgot to do something extremely important.
Somebody didn't level the audio, did
Not
they?
even close, because Steve is super loud. Steve, talk.
Control the vaginal swearing.
Thank you, Steve. I leveled everybody's but Steve, apparently, and Steve was only like 50% higher volume level than he needed to be.
A faint A Lamau in the distance.
Now that I tagged you in the Facebook post.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna open our first article. Google's
Alright, what have we got?
artificial intelligence team DeepMind sets its sight on StarCraft 2.
So what you're telling me is they're trying to beat Koreans through the power of computers built by Koreans.
Yes.
I was gonna
Okay,
go
cool.
computers built by the Japanese, but yes. In essence, yes. They're trying to beat the Koreans with more Koreans, sure. At BlizzCon on Friday, Google research scientist... Wow, that name. Okay. I'm not even gonna try.
Let's just call him Bob.
Yes, Bob. Best way to go with that. Bob announced that StarCraft 2 is being opened to the artificial intelligence researchers around the world. The goal to create better AI opponents for StarCraft 2 and possibly create AI coaches that could teach humans how to play the game better.
Seems legitimate.
Whatever.
Of course, the goal of their AI development is not just to match humans, but to beat them.
Physically.
Sure. We
In
can
the
go
dick.
with that. This is basically... Google's AI research team has opened up their, let's work on making a StarCraft thing, and let's see who else will let us get into their multiplayer and work on making new robots for them, basically. Google's goal is to create a robot that learned similar to AlphaGo. If anybody else knows about that besides me.
Nope.
Nope.
AlphaGo was a robot it was an AI that Google designed to play Go, which is a very old board game. Similar...
Oh, okay, right. I thought you said Alpha Girl, not Alpha Go. No, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, AlphaGo. Yeah, beat the world's most renowned champion in a game. What was it? 4 games out of 5?
Yeah, the 5th game he made a play that the computer had never seen before, and it went, what?
Yeah, it was like,
Kinda
are you
freaked
sure
out.
this is what you meant to do? I remember that moment when watching.
Yeah, once it was pretty hilarious because once it figured out what was going on and then it had no idea how to counter it, it just ignored that part of the board for as long as possible.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So the general premise for the whole thing is we implement the AI into the universe. It then learns to play by playing players or by watching the way players have played. And eventually it should be able to, by itself, play. And it'll be very interesting to see how that adapts into something like StarCraft 2. Because then you can get somebody that, to the moment the resource becomes available, it's spending it. To the moment that its cooldown is ready to go, it's using it. To the moment that it needs to build that thing, it will.
The problem I foresee is it's one thing to make a predictive model when you have 100% vision, but it's another thing to build a computer that can make a predictive model when it doesn't have vision. Because when you're talking about games like StarCraft, or at least I'm pretty sure, I don't know if StarCraft is exactly like a MOBA, but you don't have 100% vision on the whole field, do you?
No, you have a massive fog of war.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's like exploring an
the
area.
computer it compounds the problem that Go had, where now rather than just uncertainty of a 100% visible board, you have uncertainty of a board that you don't have complete vision over. So, I mean, I don't think programming has come far enough for us to be able to solve that problem.
Well, that's why there's certain units in the game, and I mean, the game is played by players that don't know what's going to happen either. So if players are working accurately to overcome this idea, there's got to be a way for a computer to do it.
Well, yeah, but you have to remember that previously the way that most computers have won games is just through brute force.
Well, that was why
Um,
AlphaGo was different too, is it didn't win by brute force, it won by learning.
Yeah, but there's still a smaller set of possibilities in Go than there is, multiple different maps in a StarCraft game where every split second you've created, 100, X number of new possibilities per second. Like, you can't make a predictive model map. And even just from watching people play, you're never going to get a large enough sample size. So,
I mean, that's...
plus, through the act of having the AI watch people play, if it's watching people of all skill levels play Go and not just champions, it could start getting the wrong ideas about how the game is played.
Well, this is true, and that would be the same thing as if it was watching StarCraft. If it didn't watch the best players in the world, it would only learn to play it wrong. I mean, I guess you're right that StarCraft does obviously have more moves, but there's by far more possible moves in Go than a computer could try and calculate.
No, I get where you're coming from. I'm just saying that the whole vision thing is probably going to create a giant challenge for.
Well,
whoever
maybe
gets
something
their
that'll
challenges.
happen that would be interesting would maybe the computer compensates for its lack of understanding by making a bunch of fucking scouts. We have no way to know how the computer will behave until we see it. It's just an interesting idea. That maybe
Or it could be trained to create a brute force and just wait it out.
I mean, or it could just be taught to play the what the fuck, army build huge, insect annoying fuckers.
Just wait until it figures out how to Zerg rush.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. As soon as it figures out to rush, just great. It'll be more interesting to see how it deals with some of the other factions, though. Anything interesting else to mention about AIs before we move on to Ubisoft Week?
No,
Most of it. It's dumb. We need better UI developers.
Well, we do, but here we are. Now, let's begin Ubisoft Week. Yay, everybody's ready for Ubisoft Week, right?
no, but let's go anyway.
No, let's start with Ubisoft promises to patch out the Watch Dogs 2 explicit female genitalia.
Why? Why? Like, why?
We're not entirely
Because in the
sure.
real world, Doc, women have vaginas.
No.
So that means that we ban the fake ones?
No, that's why I'm just saying it's in the game.
No,
I don't think
we're
it
not,
can be banned.
we're not allowed to even say it, so.
a vagina. There you go.
Let's see. Comment from
That was so
Ubisoft.
reasoning.
I'll read that.
No, but this
before-
isn't the worst part of this story, so keep reading.
I was gonna say I'll read the Ubisoft comment because the other part happens before that. We are aware that one of the NPC models in Watch Dogs 2 is rendered in a way that is particularly explicit. Ubisoft told Polygon, "While Watch Dogs 2 is a mature-rated game, we apologize and will update the NPC model to make it more consistent with the other NPC models in the game. Because this
Why?
is the only model that has a rendered vagina."
So? Like, that's what I don't understand. I don't see why it's a big deal. It is an animated game. The model is a prostitute, from what I understand.
Yeah, the
But does
model.
it have it in
Prostitutes
the?
definitely have vaginas.
Does it have it in the ESVR rating or RB rating?
If it has nudity listed, then yeah, then it.
Yeah, if it has
But
nudity,
if it doesn't,
listed.
that's what I'm
Hold on,
asking.
let me go
Does
look.
Yeah, let's look that up.
Well, yeah. I mean, who knows? The E ESRB could blow a gasket.
They maybe could if it's not listed. Let me go take a look at why it's rated what it is.
Let's see. Yep, nudity and sexual themes. So they can leave it in if they want.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not entirely sure why they're removing it. Let's see. We're also
Probably 'cause they're getting a
working with
lot
our
of shit.
maybe it's because they have corporate lords hanging over their head. We are also working with our first-party
That too.
partners to ensure that players can continue to play and share all content from the game within the bounds of the first party's respective codes of conduct. Okay. Now we'll proceed with the rest of this article, where the guy that found this was running around shooting pipes in various locations, and one of those pipes exploded and killed the NPC in question. At which point he tweeted out that, oh, one of the NPCs has fully rendered genitalia, and then somebody said Pixar it didn't happen, so he took a in-game screenshot of it. And then, shortly after he had uploaded it to Twitter, his PSN account was suspended for violating the rules against content of an adult or sexual nature. The first.
Well, okay, wait. Stop. Okay, so did he take this picture with his console, or did he take it with a phone?
He took it with his
With his-
console.
Console.
Okay, well then technically I guess he did violate the code of conduct. But I would like to point out two things. One, the guy that said Pixar didn't happen just ate total shit. Two, this is fucking retarded. For a myriad of reasons, this is retarded. One, there should be no way that you can violate the EULA in the act of using a piece of authorized software.
Oh yeah. I
Like,
agree.
if he didn't make any modifications to it, and he literally just took a picture of a licensed game that has already been rated by the ESRB, and you ban him, you are either A, retarded, B, a douchebag, or C, both. Like, there's no argument that you could possibly make for, like, oh no, he took a picture of something that we didn't know was there, better ban him. Like,
Yeah. So they banned him. He repealed it, and the ban went from a week to a
upload
month.
it.
What?
What?
Dicks!
Okay. Wow.
Tony, what the hell?
Please tell me that this hit the front page of PC Gaming, of our gaming. I bet you it did. If I were to go to Reddit right now
Let
and
me
go
go
back to
see.
the date this article was published, I bet you
article-
money.
This article was published 4 hours ago, so
Okay, then yes. If it was just recently published, I can guarantee you that this is somewhere on the front page of Reddit right now, or at least close to the top. Like if you were to go to our gaming, or probably if you were to go to the Watchdog subreddit, there is a bunch of angry people with pitchforks right now.
probably.
You know what they
Probably.
should do? What they should do before the game is patched, everyone should find that prostitute, and like thousands, hundreds of thousands of people should start taking screenshots of that particular prostitute. As a form of protest.
Yeah, it's a form of protest. Let me see. The PSN subscription is amusing and utterly ridiculous. Banning someone for using an in-game tool to share in-game images through a platform on which the game runs is a tremendously silly thing to do.
Is that the developers talking?
No, that is the guy that published the article talking, which is Andy
Oh, okay.
Chalk.
Good old Andy.
Good old Andy.
Let's
Dude, that
see.
guy's like... How much do they pay that man? That man is like a workhorse. He must put out like 6 articles a day.
Yeah, he seems to be
Yeah,
the
dude.
one person we always
Non-stop
see.
going.
Be fair, they're not always incredibly long.
No,
No.
not all.
Yeah, but they don't always need to be.
Wow, this is quite crazy. But yeah, he went from, having a week suspension to repealing it, telling them that he was just using a tool and showing them that, it was really an in-game object, and now his suspension's been extended to a month.
You know what I'd do?
Yeah.
You really want to freak him out? Contact PSN, talk to level 2 support, and tell them that if it's not fixed, he's going to file an executive complaint with the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah, fuck it.
That spooks them real fast.
By the way, it's on the second page of our gaming. Watch Dogs 2 is beautiful, isn't it? Is the title of the thread. But yeah, so that would definitely be one way for him to get things going with that, because there's no reason at all to ban him for using a tool that you gave him access to, not to mention just taking pictures of a game. Like, oh my
Wait,
god, people.
so does that mean if you take like pictures of one of the gods of war, I think it's God of War 2 with the giant creepy snake tits, that you get banned from PSN?
No, you're thinking of Dante's Inferno, probably.
Oh, I am? Okay,
Yeah,
well,
there's
okay.
the
Let me
Demon
rephrase
of
that.
Lust.
So, what you're telling me is if you take pictures on PSN of giant creepy snake tits, you don't get banned.
By the way,
Okay.
there is God of War titties.
Oh, is there? I
Oh,
never
well,
played
yeah,
God of War.
obviously.
Yeah, of course there's God of War titties.
Well, there was a spot that he's talking about, like a secret area.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I guess from what we can tell, they'll get banned. If Ubi was serious about the Watch Dogs 2 being a mature rated game with all that enthralls, that's great. Although the crotchless panties strike me as an odd place to plant that particular flag, but why is Stampede to apologize and remove it the moment somebody notices? Says Andy Chuck.
Dude, I bet that some designer snuck that in there without anybody knowing. Because the only way to see it is if you kill them.
Right.
And they fall over just right.
And I mean, I'm sure if you hire her, there's a scene where it probably uses that. So it's not expected to not be there. But she's the only one that, when in-game, has that modeled. So probably somebody
Yeah,
stuck
this
that
is
in
this
there.
is probably a plant.
Yep.
There's there's a long storied history of people sneaking stuff like that in there. One of the really good ones, Halo 2 almost had to be pulled from shelves, not because of anything in the game, but because of the map editor that came with the game. Bungie always puts out like power tools for the PC community whenever they ported their game, so that people could like make their own maps and edit them and everything. And you could build your own geometry to build your own map, and the files were called .ass files, ASS. It stands for something really technical, and it makes sense when if you know what you're talking about. But if you compile it wrong, you get a .ass error, and on the side of the error, there's a picture of one of the Bungie developers named Chucky who's mooning you. It's a picture of Chucky's ass, and it says, "You've encountered a .ass error. Please check the .ass file for the correct verticate and indicate relative counts to connected polygons," or something like that. And they had to issue a patch to get rid of that. Otherwise, the ESRB was gonna go into orbit.
Yeah, I can see them wanting to go into orbit. Anything else to mention about this crazy, ridiculous crap that's going on?
This is just another example of a AAA studio being fucking retarded.
Don't worry, we have 5 more check marks to give Ubisoft today.
Okay, let's do it.
Moving on. This is a weird article. Ubisoft is talking with Netflix to make a series.
Yes.
Ubisoft
Okay.
has gone into
A series of what?
negotiations.
A series of failures?
They want to make a TV series out of Assassin's Creed and Far Cry.
Nope.
We already saw what
I can see
happened with the
Assassin's
movie.
Creed.
And what, did you watch the Assassin's Creed movie?
I've not.
I mean, maybe if it has Netflix funding behind it, it might have been good, but
Is the movie even out? I thought it wasn't out yet.
there's
Yeah,
definitely
I didn't think it was.
there's definitely a movie out.
Well, there is
I don't know
there is
if
a
it's the
Netflix
movie that
out.
everybody's hyped about.
No, it's not.
I've
'Cause I
seen
think
it.
that movie doesn't come out till next year.
Okay, well that'll be an interesting one to see then, but I'll give it a
Yeah, that one
chance.
actually has funding. Well, no, I could see it being an interesting series because one, they don't have to smush everything into a 2-hour program. They can draw it out and actually give stuff detail.
So the reason this article is included in particular, though, is these discussions come in part because of the Vivendi, that frickin' company that's acquired a large portion of their stocks, acquisition of even more of their stocks.
Yes.
Vivendi now owns like Vivendi, whatever. Vivendi. Sure. That company now
Something.
owns
It sounds French. It's probably Vivendi.
Vivendi, yeah. Well, these guys now own 24% of Ubisoft stocks, which gives them 26% of voter rights. So they're working towards what people are considering a hostile takeover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it owns 24.95% of the share capital. And, oh, sorry, it's only 21% of the voting rights on anything.
If they get to about 40%, the only real option that Ubisoft has, if it wants to maintain its independence, is to dunk the company, sell the rights off, and reform the same company with all of the same people.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the only option they have at that point.
Yep. So
I'm pretty sure that Vivendi has a history of running video game companies into the ground.
Yes,
Vivendi,
This is
really.
actually why like people have always wondered whether or not and now this is back when Bungie still owned Halo, whether or not they'd go public. And the specific reason why they've always maintained private stock is because they don't want anyone to have any ability to gain any voting rights in the company. So the minute you put your company public, you expose yourself to being taken over. So a lot of video game companies only sell private stock.
Yep. So Ubisoft is trying to do this to help maybe escape from Vivendi with Netflix help, but I don't know if Netflix gives a shit. Let's take a look at this. Ubisoft is attempting to maintain its wishes, attempting to remain independent from Vivendi, despite Vivendi continuing to acquire more of the company's shares. The company has offered no further comment since Vivendi has bought more. Though
Either that, or they could start selling. They could start selling all their rights from their company to a shell company and just transfer all their rights, and then, like I said, dunk the company. So
Right. That may be what they do if they're gonna have this issue. Let's see, we were presented with the opportunity to seek a seat at the annual shareholders meeting last month. It did not do so, however, caused some issues. It did cause some issues at the meeting. While Ubisoft measures were passed, including the addition of 2 new independent members to the board of directors, Vivendi abstained from any voting on any resolutions. This move caused them not to pass promoting Ubisoft to describe to Vivendi's actions as systematic obstruction of impeding proper function of the company. Okay. Systematic obstruction of impeding the proper function of the company is what Ubisoft is claiming Vivendi is doing.
that's the reason why they're playing lamb right now, because they're going to wait until they have controlling interest before they make any votes at all, because they don't want to look like they're obstructing.
Right. And let's see.
This is classic. This is classic hostile takeover territory.
Yep, and after Ubisoft reported more positive gains recently, Vivendi has since purchased even more stocks, going up 2% farther. So, Vivendi is working pretty classically into that hostile takeover.
Oh yeah.
And we're not sure what's going on with that. Now we're going to talk about...
What else did they fuck up?
we're going to talk about something that may not be a fuck up, may be a fuck up, but we're going to discuss it. Ubisoft put a real game trailer in one of their games. They did not release this game trailer anywhere else besides the game until it was announced that this was actually a real game trailer.
What?
Yes.
What?
That's an odd choice.
Yeah, I thought so too. They put a game trailer for a game in Watch Dogs 2, and in Watch Dogs 2 it was called Pioneer, was the name of the game that was being trailered for in this whatever commercial and the various ad signs around Watch Dogs 2 City. And then a couple days ago it announced that the trailer was real. And that it had accidentally leaked into their game.
How do you accidentally leak that into your game?
Dude, those pesky engineers, man. They'll do it to you.
Fuckers. Always leaking shit into games.
Now, I want to move with this as them deliberately doing it and discuss it as if they deliberately put it in the game.
They totally did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You
So-
don't fuck something up like that.
So if we're seeing people start moving to advertising within their own games to advertise for more of their games, will we see people per se like Ubisoft being like, "Hey Rockstar, here's $2.5 million. Put an ad for our upcoming game in GTA." Do you see that happening, or do we think this is a complete impossibility?
I see that happening more with like indie games.
Indie games advertising for other indie games?
I don't know.
Well, no, like an indie game asking a AAA, like, "Hey, we give you like $50,000 or $100,000. Can you put an ad for our game in your game?"
Like, even if it does become a thing, I don't see an issue
Sure.
with that.
These are dark times.
I don't know.
I
Are
don't
they
see a
dark
problem
times?
with it.
Because
Yeah.
unlike, advertisements on YouTube, unless you have ad block, or advertisements on your TV, you don't have to go pay attention to the game trailer that's in the game. You don't have to go read the signs.
Yeah, and
You
usually
don't-
you're just more intrigued than
yeah.
anything.
So if you actually like the look of the game,
Yeah.
you can go look at the trailer. But otherwise, you can ignore it.
Like, fun fact, Subway did something like that with Infamous 2. They paid for there to be a Subway in the game.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
there you
just
go.
there. You can't go in it either. It just exists.
It's a fake
There's just a
Subway.
Subway.
Here's the Subway. You can't get food, but here you go.
Yeah, it's there.
They had to pay double the amount to give out working sandwiches.
So,
Like,
on a side
I mean,
note,
I-
it's supposedly a No Man's Sky similar sci-fi genre game. So that
Oh, be careful.
yeah.
Do not he who shall not be the name shall not be spoken.
Yeah.
Sean Murray.
Yes. Sheen Ray.
Sean
Ooh.
It
Murray.
even advertises the $5 footlong.
But yeah, so do you is there an issue with people advertising their games and other
I mean-
people's games?
As
As
long
long
as
as they
it's
don't-
not intrusive. Or obtrusive.
Right. If it's kind of like when someone's watching TV in GTA 5 and then just a little ad pops up. Yeah, that's whatever.
Yeah, well,
Because you don't even know it's an ad. You just think it's part of the game.
well, if you became aware they were actually ads is the thing. Because if this starts being a thing, you'd know they're real ads.
Yeah, but I don't know if people would be pissed about it, though.
I don't think people would be pissed about it either, as long
As
as,
long as it's not
Delta
overt,
says.
I probably wouldn't care. Like as
Yeah.
long as they don't make it glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
But
No,
no,
say
I
it's just like
haven't-
a blimp that flies around that just has
I'll
video
put it this
playing
way.
on it.
I haven't seen an advertisement in about 4 years.
Yeah, I
Like-
think I'm on that boat with you too. I haven't
My
seen an ad.
my ad blocking skills. I run like 3 ad blockers. Anything
you
one of them
too?
doesn't catch, the other one will.
Yeah, I run 2 right now. You're gonna have to tell me what that third one is you run.
Oh, I just run AdBlock Plus, and uBlock Origin.
uBlock Origin, that's the one I don't run. Okay.
Dude, uBlock Origin is freaking boss. I get it.
Alright.
Yeah, and by the way, to anyone whoever listens to this, we don't run ads. We don't intend to run ads because we do this for fun.
Yeah, this is totally...
If we ever get super popular somehow and we get a huge audience, if you want to contribute to us, we'll like make a Patreon or something. But
Yeah.
ads are bullshit and they don't work.
No Patreon.
Hipster welfare.
Yeah, there
Hipster.
you go. We'll make a Patreon, that's how we do it. Alright. You ready to add the bad check mark to Ubisoft now? A really bad check mark to Ubisoft?
Sure.
Do it.
Insider trading claims levied against Ubisoft executives.
Wait, what?
Amid the hostile takeover concerns, some executives at Ubisoft are also facing another issue: insider trading claims. Ubisoft Kotaku reports today that the AMC
Kotaku.
Kotaku reports today that the AMC, which is France stocks market's regulatory body, is claiming that Ubisoft CEO Yelanis Mallet and 4 other Ubisoft executives sold stock in the weeks before the publisher announced that Watch Dogs and the crew would be delayed. The site points out Ubisoft stock value dropping dramatically after this was announced, and the regulators claim that the 5 executives sold the stocks in the weeks between October 5th, which is weeks before October 5th, which is when the delay announcements were made, as 32% of the stock value price was dropped.
Yeah, but that's not insider trading.
Most since the AMC
Insider trading is when someone inside the company is giving information to someone outside the company on how to buy stocks. If you're an executive of a company, hold on, my dad's cell phone is going off. I'll just ignore it for right now. When you like give information to somebody else like that, okay? That's just straight up illegal. But if you're a CEO and you know what's going on inside the company, there's no way that can't not affect your decisions about how to manage your own stock portfolio. Like you can't unknowledge yourself about things that are going on in your own company. I mean, if it would be one thing if they dumped their entire stock, but I doubt that that's what they did. They probably just sold off a portion of it to try to insulate themselves. But, like, it's scummy, but, I mean, how would they not have that information as upper employees of the company? So, like, I guess I don't understand the angle they're coming from.
Neither do I, because that's not insider trading at all. Let's see. In a statement to Kotaku, the Ubisoft representative said that its company is aware of the action being taken against them by the AMF concerning the 5 employees. Those individuals vigorously dispute their implication in the matter, and the AMF's interpretation of the facts is false. The co-founder and CEO of Ubisoft does not question the good faith of the people involved, the good faith of the people involved, and has reassured them that they have his full support and trust. Okay. Wow. The sanctions board will continue this case in later this month in Paris, where the Ubisoft is based. Okay. Yeah, they've sold off approximately 36% of their holdings.
Yeah, so they compensated for the expected loss.
Yeah. Which is, sounds reasonable.
Which means that in theory they didn't lose or gain money.
This is completely true.
If you look at the amount that the relative stock dropped.
Yeah, which is approximately 32%. Okay.
32. Okay, they might have made a little bit, but it's if they would have completely sold, like I said, and made everything at the higher stock price, and like gotten out before a crash, that would be one thing. But there's no way around being the CEO and upper echelon of a company and knowing that there's going to be a delay, and as a result of that, selling some of your stock. I mean, were they just supposed to take the hit? They're like, yeah, we know that there's going to be a financial thing that's going to happen to this company, and we have a whole shit ton of stock in it because we're the executives. So do we just take our medicine? Like, they probably did the smartest thing they could do. They sold off approximately what they thought they were going to lose
Yeah.
to make up the difference. They didn't make an exorbitant amount of money knowing that the company was going to fold. I mean, that would be one thing. But I foresee no one facing any time or fines for this. This is bullshit. I mean, they're still scumlords, but
I mean, they are, but what are they gonna do?
that's
They're
what
aware of
they've
this
done. I don't
information.
believe is necessarily illegal.
Yeah. I don't think it is either. We'll investigate this farther and discover whether this is actually an illegal action, if they're just supposed to take their medicine by law. Which, if they are, I kind of feel sorry for them, because I don't think they should be necessarily forced to take their medicine. I mean, what do you want to bankrupt a company just because you feel like it?
Yes.
Yep.
Ready for
Is that not what we wanna
Bethesda
do?
being scumlords?
Bethesda, yeah, probably.
Here we go. Here's how Bethesda recommends to fix the issues with Dishonored 2's performance. Turn
Was
down
it
your
wrong?
graphic settings.
Makes sense. No, there's
Let's do
people
that.
who haven't actually
Well done.
tried that.
Well
Well, probably.
done.
Let's see. I'm just gonna look up Dishonored 2.
General
specs.
recommendations listed by Bethesda are avoid alt tabbing. Relaunch the game if you see.
In all fairness, every Bethesda game I've ever played has always had an issue with alt tabbing.
Yep.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I was gonna say on their story page
Are
it
you
shows that.
fucking kidding me?
Oh, this is even.
Attempt to avoid alt tabbing. Just go ahead and close and relaunch the game every time you want to change your music. It's like, no.
We're running.
I was gonna say
Well,
this game
hold on,
says it
here's-
requires a GTX 1080 or a RX 480. So yeah,
That's
People had
bullshit. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. Allow me to call bullshit for several reasons. Battlefield 1. Yes, we're going there. Their beta, I could play that beta on Ultra at about 50 frames per second. Okay? A 1080p with a 680 with only 2 gigs of VRAM. That is like half the recommended.
Yeah, but I think I
graphics
know
fidelity.
why. I believe I know why.
Okay?
If
Now,
you
when
let
the
me
full
finish
game came
reading,
out-
I can tell you why.
They had a DirectX problem, which I'll update you guys on at a later point. But if your game requires the absolute top of the line graphics card as a medium requirement, then one of two things has occurred. A, you don't know how to compress information in your game. B, you have no idea what optimization is, and you have had a team of monkeys that have compiled the code for your game. Okay? Like, there's no way that the medium system requirements or the recommended system requirements for a game in 2016 is a GTX 1080. I'm sorry. Not even Crysis was that stupid. When Crysis came out, it didn't even demand the absolute state-of-the-art graphics card to be run.
It didn't. The second
You
general
might-
recommendation, by the way, avoid having any background applications running in addition to this game.
I
But,
can it probably explain why.
but anyways, if I read these video settings, if you're having any performance issues, try lowering the resolution. Only use 1440p resolution if you have a very high-end GPU. But, if you attempt to run, like, if I read down here farther in the article, Phil's work PC, which is an i5 3570K with a GTX 970, struggles to maintain 60 FPS at 1920 by 1080.
Yeah, Hadur, You had monkeys run your code optimization.
Again, I can probably tell you why. Because it has to do with that device that I was talking about earlier with Delta and Charlie. The game pretty much runs the same map twice for the 2 different time periods. So it's running basically double the game at any
time
given
turner?
point.
You're
Yeah.
saying because of the time turner, the game.
That is, I guarantee you 100% that is not how the time turner works.
That
Yeah.
is how it works, because you can
That
still
is-
glimpse into the past without going there, and vice versa.
But that
It's
just renders a
constantly
small
keeping it
section.
loaded.
Yeah,
Well,
but
it
okay,
renders as
so
far
what?
as you can
Okay,
see
so
in a
let's say
small
for a
view,
second that you're correct.
FOV.
Okay, that it's running 2 instances at all times with 2 sets of artificial intelligence. That is a terrible fucking way to do that. That is an atrocious way to do that. What you could be doing is have the person loaded into the local zone, okay, and whatever time zone they are not in is simply running a visual emulation of the position of the AI. So you'd only have to track the portion of the map that they're currently looking at, okay, and the AI that is loaded in that portion of the map, and use everything else as a data point reference. You don't have to load the entire zone. You could load just a room of that particular zone and do a hot swap when they do the transfer. So let's say you're in the future, okay, or the current,
Present.
and you want to go to the past. When the transfer happens, the only part of the past that is loaded is the immediate room, okay, and the AI that's in it. Once the transfer happens, it seamlessly pulls the rest of the information for the map before you have to before you can look at it, okay? There's no way that they're running 2 concurrent versions of the same level with 2 concurrent
Well-
sets of artificial intelligence.
Considering
If
where I
if
saw
they are doing it that way, then they're retarded.
where I saw Steve use the time turner, they had to be. He was out in a giant fucking courtyard. There was hellhounds and other things in the present that were attempting to attack him, and then guards and other things in the past that were trying to track him, as well as his
Yeah,
target.
the thing is, they're not. It's not drawing both of those maps at once.
Well,
okay?
considering
It
that when he
is,
disappears,
yeah.
the guards move to where he was and continue to search for him for a time period. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like they are.
No,
Yeah, but
but
you don't have to
it's still
render
not.
both
You're
at
not.
the
It's
same
not
time.
drawing it unless you're looking at it.
Well,
Yeah, and
he
you
was
can-
looking at it.
Yeah,
That's
you
why I
can
know
look
what
at
the
it.
guards
The
did.
entire map, though, Steve. You're trying to say that they're running the entire map twice
Okay,
concurrently
it gives
while
you a
drawing
field of
the
view
AI.
of like 30 degrees, but there's no
Yeah.
limit to how far you can see in the distance, and it was a huge fucking courtyard. He was drawing, like, not only can
Yeah,
he
and those
see
guys can
past
go
the time
anywhere.
turner to the present beyond it, but he can see into the past through the time turner here. So I don't know.
Yeah, but it's still not drawing the entire map. It's only drawing what he's looking at. Okay?
Okay,
So the distance doesn't matter. Let's say you have a 30-degree angular vision, okay?
right.
And you're looking down a courtyard. Everything outside of those 30 degrees does not need to be drawn in real time. As he moves through the scene, it can pop that information in and out of existence. Okay? So as he scans around the courtyard, as those AI and those objects move out of what he's seeing through the time turner, they can be unloaded in real time. The way that
They
you've
can't,
worded it is
because
that
you
they're
can
running
still
everything
bump into
twice.
them.
I wouldn't assume they are, but they have to be
You
running
can't
the
unload
AIs
them.
and know
And
where
even
they
if
are
they
in the
even if they
environment.
are, that's not an excuse for poor performance.
Because when did you get the time turner?
Like 5 hours into the game.
What's the biggest if you compare it to another game, what's the biggest single load zone in that game?
If I had to compare it to another game? Shit, I don't know, because I haven't played through the whole game yet, but up to like where I am.
What's the biggest one you've bumped into? The biggest zone.
The biggest zone, I'd say like double the size of Whiterun in Skyrim.
That's not big.
That's really
It's not
tiny.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, so if any game that's properly optimized could run that 4 times Okay, so it doesn't matter that they have, even if I take you at face value and it's running the entire map concurrently in both time periods with all AI and all information constantly drawn, okay, that's still not an excuse for poor performance. There are games that can draw active territories at max render distance that are 10 times that size.
I was gonna say, look at like Final Fantasy 15, and know how big the map is and how far you're drawing things that are ridiculous.
So our fancy time manipulation bullshit is not an excuse for their game to be poorly optimized.
Not to mention, it's in the beginning, you're not even gonna have to be worried about the past. I guarantee the past doesn't exist until you get the time turner. Which means
Oh, I
at the
can
beginning of the
guarantee
game,
that
if you're lagging at the
How
beginning of
does
the
that
game,
work?
if you're what I mean is the area.
But no,
we're
I gotta
talking
know
about.
like when people are having like these issues to make that argument, I guess, because I don't know
Well,
when they're
the
having these
benchmark
issues.
the benchmark is probably being done with the first level of the game. I mean, if I had to assume, because the idea is a benchmark needs to be something that you can run quickly. If the game doesn't include a benchmark, the benchmark is normally the first level. And if you don't have the time turner in the first level and you're not even rendering a second world, then that argument is completely moot anyway.
Yeah.
So it's very clear that whoever coded this had no idea what the fuck they were doing.
Bethesda's known
Either
to have
that
issues.
or it's just not interfacing with the drivers properly.
Keep the VSync active if you're having large frame rate fluctuations, and make sure to have adaptive resolution set between a
What?
minimum of 50% and the default of 75% if your frame rate ever dips below 30. Yeah, their game actively changes resolutions based on your frame
So
rate.
what you're saying? Okay, so yeah, this is for PC,
That's
right?
weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then this game's available also on both consoles, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna
right?
say I got it on the PS4.
Okay, so what they've basically done is they've built some horrible emulator into their game to make it run on PC, and that's why it's garbage.
Probably, yeah.
They like, I don't. This is not difficult. In order to build a video game on the two new consoles that are both 86X processors, you have to build the video game on a fucking PC in the fucking first place. Which means you build the PC version of the game first, and then you downgrade the PC version and edit it until it runs on the consoles. This is not a novel concept. Like, if the test build has to run on the PC, then the game should be optimized for PC to start with. Then you go from PC to the console. You don't build it for the console and then try to go backwards, because that never, ever works.
I don't understand why
I was
anyone
reading
would ever
through
do
the,
it that way anyways. Like you
I was
say,
reading
you
through the
have
reviews.
to put it on the PC first. What, Steve?
So I was reading through the reviews, and I guess Nvidia released some sort of update, and now it's working.
Well, yeah, but that's not an excuse. Basically, and this is why I feel so bad for graphics card companies, because people put out this poorly optimized bullshit, and then they have to, like, the people are complaining on the NVIDIA forums rather than complaining on the game forums about how it's not running properly, and their poor engineers have to go through there and figure out some hobbled together way of optimizing the thing for that specific game, which is why each iteration of drivers keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because there are hundreds of special instances written for individual games because nobody knows how the fuck to code anymore. That's why, going back to the fucking Battlefield thing, all of the complaints so far have been on the Battlefield forums, because the problem with the DirectX crash is so ubiquitous across so many graphics cards that people are like, there is no version of this where this is a driver problem. You, EA, who wrote this thing, have fucked it up somewhere. It is your fault. Stop trying to point the finger at the graphics card companies, because it doesn't work anymore. Like, now I'm mad.
And
Fucking
any of
asshole.
the other following recommendations are: make sure to use only auto presets. This should adjust your visual settings without impacting your frame rate. If you still have performance issues with the auto presets, try deactivating the TXAA anti-aliasing. And lower
Oh yeah,
the
just go ahead and
texture
turn off
details.
anti-aliasing and make it look like shit, but at least you'll have a good frame rate. Yeah, go fuck yourselves. Like,
Whew. This is ridiculous.
if you're having performance problems, try making the game look like shit. Yeah, okay. I bet you money, all the money in my pockets against all the money in your pockets, that if somebody took a beefy computer like the one, like that guy's workstation PC and dropped it to 640 by 480, it still wouldn't run at 60 FPS. No, seriously, I'm dead fucking serious. I bet you it still wouldn't hit 60 FPS. I bet you that render engine is incapable of
This one
meeting
here
the
is
necessary
saying-
requirements.
Wow.
This one post here is saying running at 1440p on Ultra is getting 60 FPS. With ViewSeek off, he's getting 90.
I was going to say the article itself says Phil's home system, which is a i5 660K GTX 1070, manages 2560 by 1440 at 60 FPS.
Well, then it's obviously a problem between Pascal and the other architectures.
Yeah. Because as soon as he
So that means that these fucking douchebags, in their infinite wisdom, decided, hey, let's make a game that's relatively popular that only runs properly on the absolute newest architecture of any graphics card that's been put out. So, out of all of the market share on Steam, and I don't know if this is still publicly visible, but I know that the 770 still has something like 50% market share, or something ridiculous like that. All of these old cards, the high-end 600s, 700s, and 900s, which can still run relatively new games on high to ultra settings at 1080p at decent frame rates, let's not code our game for the 85% of people who have those. Let's write our game to only function properly on the 10,000s, on the 1000 series that like 15% of the market has. Who the fuck came up with that?
Bethesda. Who else? I'm done ramming Bethesda's face into the ground.
No, I'm not. Stupid fucking cunts. Like, they can't get anything right. If it's not one thing, it's another. They seem completely incapable of the most basic level of testing and rational thought. Like, if it's not, oh, we only coded our game for 15% market share, it's, oh, by the way, people's faces don't spawn in. Like, okay, cool. Like, how could anyone, any group of people, be this incompetent? How could there not be one guy in the entire office, at the risk of being thrown out the window, a la, the meme, raise his hand and be like, I see that we're optimizing.
I'm gonna say, this wasn't directly made by Bethesda anyway.
Oh, well then they're extra
Public
stupid! They're extra fucking stupid then because they phoned it in and expected it to work. Oh yeah, hey, random third-party studio that's probably trash. Could you PC port our game, please? Click.
So I'm looking at these guys'
What the
other
fuck
games
did you
right
think
now.
was gonna happen?
These guys also have the first Dishonored game under them,
And
and that's it.
Oh,
Dishonored
okay,
and
neat.
Dishonored 2. Okay.
Yeah, like they have like a game from 2006.
By the way, hi to the people in chat.
Yes, hello people. in
Hi, chat. Doc is angry today.
I can make Doc
I'm
more
angry.
angry, and then we can explain away that one issue I was telling you about the other day. I told you about the
Jesus
issue
Christ.
about Skyrim Remastered running worse on the PS4 Pro than on the
Oh
PS4.
yeah, Jesus. God.
You remember that issue? Steve
Yeah.
knows
Yeah,
why.
Steve knows why. Yeah, Steve knows
Why?
why. Because for some reason it wants to run at 4K.
What?
Wait, what?
Yes, the Skyrim Remastered version on the PS4 Pro is attempting to force 4K graphics.
Is there a way to keep it from doing that?
A patch.
I don't know.
Because you can't adjust the graphic settings on the PS4.
Some games you can. Like most first party games you can.
Wait, it's trying to run at what? No.
They gotta be innovative.
That's not, a console cannot do that. It can't be done.
Bethesda tried, damn it.
What do they do? Set the render distance to like fucking blind? Like, oh, I can see my hand in front of my fucking face, and that's about it.
Sweet guys, 4K in a black box on my screen.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but look at my hand.
Stupid fucking retards.
Yeah, outputs native 4K and PS4 Pro.
Why? Why? Why would you do that?
Good old
God.
Bethesda.
And now I know why that freaking PC Master Race comic was at the top of the front page of Reddit yesterday. It shows the the Xbox and PlayStation peasants arguing about frame rates at 1080p because like, oh, I can get 60. Well, yeah, 58's pretty close. And PC's like, you know, like we can render this at like 90 frames a second at 4K, right? God, nobody asked you. And then underneath it shows two PSN guys with the pro and the non-pro arguing about like how like, yeah, my game's playable at 1080p. Yeah, well, mine kind of works at 4K. And then the friggin' PC Master Race guy walks in. They both turn to him and is like, don't say anything. So I guess like, where did you read that? Did you figure it out on your own, or were other people talking about that on the forums?
I saw it as an article on Facebook. Which was passing by. I was like, oh, that's neat. And then like I didn't really think much of it. I didn't know that was a complaint.
Why don't they just issue a patch to drop it down to 1440p?
Yeah, they really just need to issue a patch and drop it, because it'll fix it. Alright.
Just drop the quality.
I'm done with Bethesda. Everybody else good?
Yeah.
No! It's not okay.
It's not saying it's okay. Overwatch actor weighs in on the strike and why voice actors matter.
Shut up! You did a voice acting for Overwatch where they say like 4 lines.
Voice actor lives matter.
You said 4 things! I want equal rights!
Obviously, it's time to burn a cop car.
Yes! It's about that time.
So the voice actor who did the monkey, whatever his name is,
Winston?
Winston. There you go. That guy
Hold
just
on.
weighed in. What?
Just keep talking, I'm gonna look something up.
Okay.
Are you gonna look up the number of voice lines? Is that what you're gonna do?
Yes!
One of the big things Friedman pointed out was that publishers would often not tell him what game he has been playing.
Yes!
Let me
1, 2,
finish.
3, 4, 5, 6,
Stop
7,
counting
8
out loud.
fucking lines!
8 lines.
No, 9. 9 lines. Sorry. 9 lines.
9 lines, huh? Alright.
9 lines.
Now let me finish this. Publishers would often not tell him what game he had been hired for, making it difficult to know the context of his role and whether he was being paid fairly for his work. I have been asked
You
to
said
work
9 fucking things.
Well, I mean, he did 2 live trailers and some other shit, and
Right, but I mean, still.
Right, and on top of that, though, like,
We looked that up. They get paid like what? Minimum of $100 a fucking hour?
yeah, their average is $100 an hour.
And this is Blizzard, so they're probably getting way more than that.
Not to mention, what game it comes from does not matter when you're being paid. The quality of your voice acting determines how
Well-
much you get paid, you dipshit.
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Not even. Well, kinda. Like I
No,
can see why they'd
what
want to
game it goes in is fucking irrelevant.
Yeah, that would be like
Oh.
the programmer asking what game he's programming so he can know how much money he should be making. Like, that's
No,
that's
I
how
can
that
see
works
why
at
he
all.
needs to know for context.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I agree with that, but it has no bearing on how much money he's being paid. The only thing
No,
it
it
has bearing
shouldn't,
on
anyway.
is whether or not he's getting any royalties from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the direct quote is, I've been asked to work on games without knowing what the game was, and then showed up and being told that I have to use the N-word repeatedly as my character with no warning ahead of time. I have been asked to work on games without them saying
Wait,
that
why
it's-
exactly do you need a heads up to be able to say the word nigger? Why?
Well, It's.
I was gonna have fun with that, Doc, and you ruined it for me! I was gonna ask what the N-word was!
Oh, sorry.
Spoiled it!
You ruined his joke.
Fucker!
But I'm sure he probably
If it wasn't
has.
an apartment,
Or he's
my
probably
walls would be less
uncomfortable
blank.
saying it.
What, he's uncomfortable saying the word nigger? That's
Yeah.
I think
like
he's.
you know. You have to understand that, like, if it's not being directed at someone and it's being used as a storytelling device, there's absolutely no problem with it. It's a word. It's
just
not going to
a
hurt
word.
anybody.
But it's all the game's also going to be on his resume or the show or whatever. And so if someone looks over that and they feel offended
Oh,
or
you
anything
said
like that,
nigger.
you can complain that this person's insensitive because they're whining about that word.
Well, yeah, but if
But-
your boss, if someone who wants to hire you is worried about that, then obviously they're not anyone you want to work for anyway. I would actually like it if somebody got freaking triggered by something that I'd said, because I would know that they would be a terrible person to work with.
Yeah.
Not
I was
only
gonna
that,
say,
they're gonna be a terrible
if
person.
someone was going over a resume and was like, well, in this game, you were paid to say the word nigger. You saw you can't have the job. It's like, fuck you. Like, I was just paid to say words.
yeah, I was paid to do a job. Isn't it evident that I did my job accurately? Not to mention, people's feelings on how the word is affected are irrelevant.
But
The
it's
fact
not
that he said
irrelevant
the
when they're
word
looking
is
for-
not a problem. As long as it's used for storytelling reasons.
Or directed towards a certain group of people.
Whoa,
White
whoa, Steve.
people.
White people.
Or if it's a rap song, because clearly nothing
Yes.
in rap songs are real.
No, nothing in rap songs are violent either. In
No.
nature.
What? Blood?
I mean, like,
Rape?
how people
Hose.
feel about the fact he said the word in a game is like, whatever. Who cares? Why do you care? Like, it's a word. It's like
Yeah, if
people
I mean, someone
complaining
was
about
like
what is it?
butthurt about that.
What's the one? That one book that they started wanting to censor in schools. The kid River with the black guy.
Tom Sawyer.
Is that what it was?
No. I forget
No.
what the name is.
Was
I know what you're
that
talking
Huckleberry
about. It's like a
Finn?
Mark
Anyway.
Twain book.
We don't need to dwell on this.
Huckleberry
What other stupid shit did he say?
What other stupid shit did he say? I understand that the video game industry is very secretive, and so we told them that it doesn't have to be during auditions. During auditions, keep all code names top secret. But when you decide you want to hire an actor, call up their agent and say, we want you for this game, and you have to tell them what the game is.
I'd agree with that.
I don't know anyone who would go to work without knowing what they're working on, and yet we're asked to do this continuously. I don't know.
I mean, I can understand why not for spoiler
I
reasons,
mean,
but I mean,
well,
at the same
here's
time-
my rebuttal to that. Okay, we will tell you what the game is. You will sign this non-disclosure agreement.
Right, exactly. That's the fix.
Yeah. Like, if you disclose it, we have the rights to do whatever the contract says. Probably cut his pay,
Cut his pay, sue him,
sue him,
remove
for
him
law.
from the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dude, if somebody spilled that many beans of that level, of that quality, trust me, it wouldn't be a pay doc. There would be a lawsuit involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, obviously, like, hey, if you're okay with being forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement, sure, I can agree to it. If the publisher wants to tell you without the agreement, that's their choice. But if the publisher wants to make you sign it, you have no fucking right to complain.
Right. If you sign it.
Well,
If you don't,
no,
then you're just not on the project.
yeah, I was gonna say, if you don't sign it, you don't end up on the project. So don't complain. It's your own choice. There will be people that will sign it. I feel that it's time for the video game industry to put on its big boy pants and act like a proper entertainment company.
I think it's time for you to put on your big boy pants and stop being such a whiny little bitch.
Yes.
Yeah, you said 9 fucking words! Well, 9 sentences. I'll give him sentences.
Anyway, next.
You were paid money to say 9 things!
Oh my god, hold on. I read the next part of this quote, and I have to now read
Okay.
it so that everybody else can
Alright.
experience this. And they're deathly afraid because they want to be able to exploit all of the actors. They want to be able to exploit the developers. They have a culture of exploitation, and they don't want to give that up because they're making lots of money, and they don't
So
want anyone...
this guy's fired. This guy's fired.
Oof.
Look, all right, let me level with you here. Developers, particularly the people who are testing and coding, and probably the artists, are overworked and probably underpaid. Does that mean that they don't make a shit ton of money? No, trust me, they probably make a shit ton of money. Do they make as much money as they probably should for the amount of work that's being done? Probably not. Is crunch time a fucking bitch? Yeah, probably. But allow me to enlighten you. These people are talented programmers, designers, and artists. They could be hired any myriad of places, but they decided that they wanted to work in a very time-intensive, long hours, kind of sucks dick before launch industry. They decided to take that job. It is their responsibility to live up to to live up to what that means and accept the consequences within, workers' health and safety, not precautions, within limits. Okay, like obviously it has to be a clean environment. They can't be treated badly, but they're not entitled to have an easy work life when they're 3 weeks before launch and there's a bug that needs fixing. Okay, sometimes the shit hits the fan. That's not exploitation. They can walk out the door whenever they want to and find another job, probably that's higher paying. But they've decided that they love making video games, so that's what they're going to do. All right? So don't get up on your high horse and pretend that you are the bastion, the white knight protector of those poor, overworked, people in these video game companies, because it's simply not true. No one needs you to speak for them. If any developer or programmer or artist thinks that they're being mistreated, they can speak for themselves, or they themselves can unionize and let gamers know that they believe they're being treated unfairly. But don't you go make a fucking stink and then try to ad hoc bring other people into your cause when they haven't said anything about what's going on. So just go fuck yourself, is all I have to say to that guy.
I'm not going to read any more of this article, but I would like to mention that this article goes on for another 7.5 paragraphs, which are very decent in size. Probably 12 12 sentences.
It's another page and a half of him being a whiny cunt. Okay?
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that the rest of the article is probably something along the lines of him trying to speak for people he doesn't speak for, him assuming he's more important than he actually is, him trying to point the finger at publishers. I mean, I can probably, give you a blow by blow of what it is he's going to try and do, and all of it's bullshit. Okay? It's all bullshit. If there was really a systemic problem with people being overworked and underpaid in the video game industry, then no one would fucking work for them. There are thousands of other places that talented artists and programmers can go that is not the video game industry. So, that's all I've got to say.
Oh, he's not even fucking affected. Oh my god.
Oh, so he admits he's also talking out his ass. Wonderful.
Wait, what?
Blizzard isn't part of the strike because Blizzard is already part of this union, and the union already makes the agreements for them. He already gets what he wants.
Not only is he talking for people outside of his profession he doesn't speak for, he's trying to talk for people inside of his profession that he doesn't speak for. Wonderful. What glorious hypocrisy. Next. I'm done with this guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with that guy. He's kind of down.
I might... Hold on, let me briefly just read this article real quick. We're gonna skip this one, because voice actor unions to picket Racket and Clank developers this week as the strike continues. We're closing this and moving on.
I don't care. I don't care. How about that? How about we just be honest?
We don't care.
We don't care.
Enough. EA's official statement. It's not about the first day, and it's not about the first week of sales. Titanfall 2.
You're dumb. Launch is supposed to be a moneymaker. Launch is your moneymaker.
You want to know what's really sad about Titanfall 2?
It had potential.
I went through and I watched the entire campaign, like a whole no voiceover preview, but like walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really well made campaign.
That's what I've heard.
It was. I mean, holy shit! They went from voice lines in a multiplayer match to a fully flushed out multi-location, multi-character, rich development, full storyline at like the drop of a hat. They made a beautiful campaign. And the multiplayer, although I think the Titans are weaker than they previously had been, and which I think takes away from the game, it has a really good multiplayer component based on the what I was able to play of the beta, and the team deathmatch was on point. Weapons were well balanced. It was a really good game. And they stuffed it in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in terms of launches, and rather than losing player base to just burnout of repetitive tasks like the first game did, this one doesn't even get a chance to get off the ground. And I think that's terrible. Speaking of overworked people in the video game industry, slaved away on this beautiful piece of software that was launched at an atrociously terrible point in the calendar that is not going to get any of the love or accolades or player base that it deserves because of stupidity at the upper level of the company.
You want me to tell you how much it's not going to get deserved?
Go
how
for
much
it.
it's not going to get? EA has not said how many copies of the games it has sold, but
That's
physical
bad.
sales in the UK are down 30% from Titanfall 1.
Yeah, duh.
Yes, and analysts
No
have
shit,
said
Sherlock.
the game sales are substantially disappointing.
Duh. Look where you put it.
Yeah.
Like
Even if-
it sounds like a good game. It sounds like it has good mechanics, but when you put it like a week after Battlefield,
Even if
before
the
Call
game
of
was
Duty,
done, they could have held on to this game in its fully finished state for like months. They could have just sat on it. It's a piece of software. It doesn't gather dust. It doesn't spoil. It's fine. You could have just waited.
Okay. So
Let
here's
people play
EA.
Battlefield. Drop the first freaking DLC for Battlefield. Wait till the Battlefield population starts to decrease. Let the Call of Duty thing happen. Let Halo make its announcement, which there's probably going to be an announcement for Halo 6 at some point within the next couple months. Let Destiny's expansion pass by. Get a lull in the number of releases. Wait until after Christmas, and launch it somewhere around February when there's going to be a dry spell, and get a whole bunch of people.
Yep. Here comes EA's official response. We remind people.
I don't know what happened.
We remind people, we're building a franchise with Titanfall, so it's not all about
Yeah.
the first day sales or the first week of sales. It's all about the long run. We do a lot of things with Titanfall to continue to build engagement. We're going to give away a substantial amount of free digital content going on into the next year, and really build the franchise around people engaging with the title, because everyone who has played it just loves it.
There's only one way to save this game right now, and I'll tell you how they do it. They drop a piece of DLC just before Christmas. The people who are already playing it will buy it. They wait January, February, March. They wait until March. Okay? And what they do is they sell Titanfall, the game, the first DLC, and a second DLC that they're now about to drop at about $70.
The DLCs are going to be free.
The DLCs are already announced
They-
to be free.
They are?
Yes.
Then you discount the shit. You discount the shit out of that game at like $35.
Black Friday it will be 50% off.
That Black Friday is the wrong time to do it. You have to wait longer.
Yep.
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 They're also discounting Battlefield 1 at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, don't even get me fucking started. Okay, it's 26 days after launch, and I still can't play that game because they won't fix their shit.
It's not our fault, though.
Yeah, it is. They now... Oh, and this is... You know the best part about it? They just put out a patch, right? Like, not a patch for the drivers for NVIDIA, but an actual patch for the game. This patch has now doubled the number of people experiencing the DirectX crash and has now caused light map issues for every single person who runs an SLI setup. There's now an SLI...
So these guys have never made a game
Yeah.
before.
There's an SLI troubleshooting thread that's already up to 100 pages of responses. And the DirectX crash thread has jumped from 380 to 430 with the huge influx of people. Right around page 390, there's a big long post that says, for all of you people who are just joining the party with the latest patch, welcome to the We Cry Ourselves to Sleep thread and no one listens to us. Here's all the things that we've tried. You can go ahead and try them too and waste your time. They won't work. Trust us. Get here to... You can check back every day, expect absolutely nothing to happen for at least another 25 days, and no one to care about you. Love the community. That was the introduction. And then, of all of the times to reply, one of the EA developers comes into the thread and says, hey, I'm having this trouble with my personal rig too. Don't worry. We've been looking at we've been looking at this thread, okay, and all of the troubleshooting that you guys have done. The information's valuable. Keep posting your stats and what's happening and your error messages, and we'll get back to you, okay? The next post after that quoted him. He's like, hey, how about all of us who can't get refunds now because we've gone over the maximum number of hours trying to troubleshoot your shitty game? And I shit you not, that same guy replies to that question and says, to see our refund policy, follow this link. And I went, oh god. Oh man. If you were standing in a town square, you'd be dead. You would be shot right now. I was like, you had it. You were doing so great. You're trying to reassure people. You're like, we're having the problem too. The team's on it. Oh, well, what about all of us who want a refund who can't get it because we've been troubleshooting the game and gone over the refund policy? Oh, okay, refund policy, cool, follow this link. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. How could you even be that retarded? Like...
Also, the CEO was asked if he would do things differently in the future and decide against releasing future shooters so close to each other. Wilson's response was, while Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 have a small amount of overlap, they fulfilled very different motivations in what a player is looking for.
That's not...
In other words,
We just
yes,
wanted a
he's
yes
going
or
to
no.
do it again. It's pretty fucking obvious. He would do it without question. Again.
This guy is a Tide. Please take his company away from him. He does not have its best interest at heart.
The bartender, another release. No, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off.
Yes. And now, for something else entirely. Modern Warfare Remastered is probably getting microtransactions and new weapons.
Wait, what?
Jesus Christ.
What?
They already had to
I'm
change
sorry,
their
did I hear that right?
Yeah, they did. They already had to change their refund policy on that game because certain people just couldn't run it. It just didn't work. But
Yep.
thankfully, and I'll say this, at least they looked at the problem and said, hey, we don't know how to fix this. We don't have the time to fix this. So if you can't make it work, give us a message, 100% refund. Sorry for your negative experience. I was like, oh, holy shit, common sense. Look at that. Common sense from freaking like Call of Duty. What is this upside down world that we are living in, where much more rational companies than this are putting shooter releases back to back, not refunding people, and Donald Trump is the president-elect? What sort of wacky universe have we stepped into? Call of Duty is making sense now? What happens next? Do the stars start falling from the sky? Like, what the fuck
Don't
is
worry.
going on?
Despite them making sense, they're thinking of adding in weapons from Black Ops and other games that you can get only through microtransactions.
Oh my god.
Why?
How are they even balanced? Have they been tested in the sandbox? How many hours of testing has been done in the sandbox?
Who knows? But the overall sales for its opening week are down 48% from Black Ops 3.
Ooh! Ooh!
Black Ops 3 didn't sell that well
It
either,
didn't.
didn't it?
Ouch!
Black Ops 3
Looks
didn't
like
sell that well.
Looks like Call of Duty's getting stale. Who
Yeah,
the fuck?
it seems like Call of Duty is finally biting the dust.
It may die.
I'm
This
sorry,
They might
as
have
a-
to come up with a new idea.
As a longtime Halo fan, I'm kind of giggling in the background because Halo just celebrated its 15th anniversary. Made a giant sale and is currently making money hand over fist. Like,
Meanwhile, Call of
All the
Duty is
people-
like, we remastered this game. Everybody likes the remaster. Put microtransactions in it. We need money. Help! We're burning.
Right, and
it's just like a flaming plane. Just
And the next employee from Infinity Ward, or whoever made this Call of Duty, basically stated, if you want the Call of Duty remaster, just wait. They will be separate eventually.
allow me to glance into my crystal ball.
Allow me, as once having worked for Infinity Ward recently, to tell you it will be separate eventually. But
Right
yeah,
now, it's the only grab.
new weapons files, which amount to loot, which you then have to apparently possibly use microtransactions for to get. So yeah, enjoy that, Call of Duty people. And other than that, I
You know what I want to do?
What?
As a Destiny fan, I want to take all of this terrible shit that's going on and all this shady shit from all these companies and just make a big list of it and put it on the front page of the Destiny subreddit and go, "Hey, you whiny bitches. This is what you could be dealing with. Shut the fuck up." like there it's just comparatively, there are communities of people who have been playing games for years who are having like remastered versions stuck onto games they don't want. They're having games that simply don't run. They're having people not refunding things that need to be refunded. You know, some games are approaching possibilities of pay to win because if these guns are unbalanced and you can only get them through microtransactions, you're basically saying pay to be able to compete in PvP. And then there's the Destiny forums that are bitching because they can't get a cosmetic item without paying for it. I was like, oh my god, guys. Like, like, come on. Everything around you is burning and you're whining about the Festival of the Lost.
It's so true. And now,
Oh, sorry, that was probably really loud.
it wasn't as loud as you thought. I'm finished. I have no more articles left. That was it. We've finished today.
I always
like-
finish.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, for that
Welcome.
mental picture.
You're welcome.
Like, today is
Yeah.
one of those days where, like, after going through the articles, I'm depressed a little bit with the gaming community.
Yeah. Like
That always happens.
every time you think it can't get any worse, it just gets worse.
It's so true.
Daladev hasn't said much today because I guess that's just what he does. What are your thoughts, Daladev?
Cool.
Cool. Come on, give us something.
Anything.
I'm
Do
good.
you hate voice actors? Do you dislike EA? Is Ubisoft a bunch of trash? Bethesda deserve to go fuck
To be
themselves?
fair, a lot of people are a bunch of trash, so.
A lot of people are a bunch of trash. There we go. That's Deldev's official comment on the statement.
All right.
Oh,
there you go.
2016.
All right,
A lot of
I'm
people-
gonna do my little thingy. So follow us here on Twitch. Let's see, like us on Facebook.
That's where we are,
subscribe
yes,
to us on
Twitch.
YouTube. Yeah, we're on Twitch. And follow us on Twitter. And now, Doc, if you please.
This has been the depressing ass fucking podcast where four guys who know a little bit about a lot of stuff attempt to sound mildly entertaining on the internet without crying. I'm your host, Dr. Smurf. Thank you. And good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.